Hi everybody, and welcome to this video about the Five of Cups. This video is going to be me talking a lot and probably displaying quite a lot of raw emotion while I'm talking. It is going to be a natural and honest video that is going to be probably slightly chaotic because there is lots to say and I didn't want to write loads of scripted notes for it. I just wanted to speak to you as directly as I could. So as ever, bear with me. I said that I'd do the Five of Cups because a lot of you said that was okay. Even though it is a minor card, it did link directly into the Death card, which I did focus on recently from the Everyday Enchantment deck. This is the Five of Cups from the Everyday Enchantment deck. And as I decided to do this, I'd decided I was going to do it today, which is Friday. I saw in the local paper, in another synchronicity, this, if you've watched a lot of my videos, I hope you have, or maybe this is your first one, I'll just tell you now that every time I make a video, at least one synchronicity happens. And the one, well, there's been two, but the main one for this one is I was planning on doing this today, Friday, the 30th of August 2019, and it is, I found out through a little article in the local paper, it is Grief Awareness Day on the very day that I was going to look at this card. I will come back to that later because it's a really interesting letter that somebody's put in the local paper from Cats Protection, but more of that later, otherwise I will divert myself far too much. So that was my first synchronicity of making this video. Okay, deep breath. When I started to create this card, when I was working on it, it wasn't personal. I mean, all my cards are personal because I got very deeply involved in them over the 10-year period that I've been putting them together, working on them, trying to find the best expression for them. So they're all personal on some level, but this wasn't, I wasn't living it as I am now. I've been living this card for quite a long time now. And of course I felt a lot of empathy and understanding for anybody who was in this position, but I wasn't going through it, and I am going through it, and I have been for a long time. And this video is not going to be a pity party about Poppy, and that's a nice bit of alliteration for you, but as I am, as you probably already discovered, I am an open and honest person. But I'm also intensely private, so I'm not going to go into the whys and wherefores of everything, but I'll just say that during the creation of this card, and now just sharing this moment with you looking at it, I have basically lost everything and everybody that was important to me over a 4-year period, perhaps 5 years, but mostly in the last 4 years, and most specifically in the last 2 years. I've lost basically everything that held my life together, that gave it meaning, that everybody that gave me love, and they've all gone. So this card is incredibly poignant and powerful for me because I am still in it. I am still experiencing a lot of what she's going through, so I can talk to you probably more about this card than I can about any other, but of course we've got our time restrictions, and so I'll have to talk quickly, which might take away from the real feeling that I have. But it's like a bit like when you leave a message on an answering machine, you find you're speaking a lot more quickly to try and get it in because you're under a time limit. So normally if I was talking to you over a cup of tea, I would be talking in a much more measured way, but I'm aware that we're limited. So if I do start to speed up a bit, you'll know why. And yeah, I've even written a song that goes with this, which might make you silently cringe in embarrassment at the thought of me writing a song, but I did used to be a musician and singer and composer, and I am probably, if I can find a way, going to upload the song so that you can choose to listen to it and look at the lyrics or not. And it's called Lost in Loss, which is basically what this card is about. It's about being lost in loss. Now the 5 it's quietly powerful. It's very seductive in its own way because it suggests that we just give up. it really does admit defeat. It suggests perhaps the way ahead is too difficult, it's too painful to even contemplate, and it's far easier to just admit defeat, to look to the past, to close our eyes, to turn our backs on life, and to try and turn back time if we possibly can, just to stay stuck, to stay with it, to stay. And that's an essential part of grieving. If this card is for you about grieving, it's not all about grieving, and we'll come to that, but if it's like is for me specifically about bereavement and loss and grieving, and as it is depicted here more so than in the Rider-Waite, then that's what it is. It's really about wallowing deep and being completely lost in your loss, to the exclusion of really anything else. That heartbreak, that pain, that clinging on to something that has gone, it's all here, but we'll go through the imagery in a minute. But the card, as I've said, is about other things too. It's about desolation, about defeat, about hopelessness, about despair. It can be about rage or fear or rejection or isolation, and any of those things. There's a list of keywords in my book, and there's a great website called Learn Tarot that also has a very useful list of things that you might want to refer to. For instance, feeling regret, feeling bereft. There are all sorts of things that it's not just about bereavement, but they refer to something that has brought us to our knees. This person in the Rider-Waite isn't on their knees, but the person in my card is on there. It's brought us low, and we don't think we can go on. We prefer to just stay where we are in that, because it's just too hard. And if it is about grief, then grief can make us behave incredibly erratically and out of character, and all of those things that I've just explained including as well deep melancholy and nostalgia, a completely overwhelming nostalgia, and completely out of character fits of anger, all sorts of things. Part of this is called it's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of grief, although that has now been definitely put that they're not linear stages of grief. They're cyclical. They can appear. You can go through 3 stages within an hour. They're just feelings and emotions that come up as you're experiencing grief and loss. And grief can make us close down when we've always been open, and it can make us harden and embitter ourselves when we've always been soft and yielding, because we just don't want to feel any more hurt. It's just too much. We are on our knees and closing our eyes. Enough is what this card is saying. Of course, this experience can, in time, make us more empathetic. That pain that we're feeling, that awful heartbreak, literally you can feel your heart broken, terrible. That can make us, in time, reach out and be much more compassionate people. But at the moment, we're dealing with this experience where we've got stuck. And it's very easy to get stuck there. I can say that. Right now, I get stuck there many times a day. Or even now, I still do this. I'm still going through this. I'm speaking from experience. I try always to speak from experience, because that's the only truth that I have, is to speak to you from experience. So I am going to do that. And part of this, a big part of this, not letting go of staying stuck, is guilt. Guilt is the most insidious, damaging aspect of any loss or bereavement. It really is. And the next synchronicity that I came across when I was going to do this card was I was reading a book about Paul McCartney. Now, I've pretty much read every Beatles book that there is, because I even did my dissertation on them when I was doing my, my degree. And I just really reached for this McCartney book, which wasn't particularly good because A, it was one that had somehow escaped me before, and B, it was a bit like a comfort blanket. It was easy to read because I kind of knew it all anyway. So, and you know, sometimes when you're in the state of grief and loss, you can't concentrate very well. So I picked up this McCartney book like an old familiar friend, and I came across him saying about when Linda died, his wife Linda McCartney. And he said, whenever anyone you care about dies, you wish you'd been perfect all the time you've been with them. The guilt's a real bugger. And it is. He's so right there. It weighs us down. It keeps us completely entrenched in it because we're just bowed under the burden of our guilt. We could have been better. What if only. And people will always trot out that old chestnut in a very well-meaning way. You know, they will say, but so-and-so wouldn't want you to be like this. And that never helped me at all. It hasn't ever helped me at all. In fact, not really many people have ever said that to me because I've had the problem with people going away from it with me rather than coming towards me and trying to offer any comfort. Anyway, that's about me. It doesn't matter. But yes, people do say that. And that never helped me, but what has helped me was that I was literally, I still do, I've got to be honest with you, I still do this. I literally beat myself up because the guilt is just too much to bear. You know, it's all my fault. If only I'd been this, if only I'd been that. Because I'm incredibly sensitive, I just feel things a billion times worse than other people do. Not saying I'm special, but I am intensely sensitive. And, you know, bereavement just brings that right out to the fore. And I got a little bit of guidance from the beings that work with me and who have found it very hard to get through to me because I'm so closed down. A little moment of clarity. And they said, actually, when you're doing that to yourself, it's hurting them. They were talking about my parents in this thing. That every time you hit yourself, it hurts them. And it hasn't stopped me, but it's really curbed it, you know, and every time I do it I think, oh no, don't want to hurt you, really don't. Anyway, that was a little bit of a personal digression. Let's look at the cards symbolism. I did say that this was an intensely personal thing and I was going to share things with you. How can I not? I'm trying to be authentic. I am an authentic person. I'm not putting on a show. If you find it uncomfortable, I completely understand. Anyway, the symbolism. As you know, if you've watched any of my other videos or read the book that goes with the Everyday Enchantment deck, I always refer to the Rider Waite. When I was creating the cards, I referred to it, and I will refer to it now in the video. There are differences and there are similarities. The main difference is that it was very difficult because I really wanted this to be set in a modern cemetery that we'd all have experience of at some time in our lives, going into a cemetery, a graveyard to visit our relations or just to maybe walk around. Some of us are tapophiles, just like to look at graves, not in a morbid way, but it's just interesting and puts things into perspective that you're looking at those people's life. You know, those people had lives, and it's a sort of it's a thing for your imagination to think, who were those people? They had, you know, what did they do? What did they love? What did they feel? Anyway, that's why you might have walked around a churchyard or graveyard or a cemetery. So I wanted to set this in a cemetery because it's every day and we probably all had experience of one. So it was difficult to incorporate a bridge and a river and a castle into the cemetery, so I didn't. But these are really important things, and I tried to incorporate my own symbolism to make up for the fact that I couldn't include those things. So in the Rider Waite, the things that do translate is we've obviously got the Five of Cups. Slightly different. I tried to work it out so it would be the same, but I couldn't. Stylistically, in a design sense, I just couldn't because it wouldn't work. But there are 3 fallen cups and 2 upright cups in the Rider Waite, and mine has 3 upright and 2 fallen. And the cups are the little holders that you put your flowers in when you are visiting the cemetery. They've got little holes in that you put the flowers in. So there's your one connection there. Obviously, the next connection is the black figure. This one is wearing a cloak. Mine is wearing a kind of a puffer jacket with a fur trimmed hood. but it's a long black coat, and you can see the similarities there. I even kind of got the greyness of there. I wanted to draw the parallels, but this figure has got their back completely turned. They have turned their back on the world and on everything, and they are bowed down. Mine has not necessarily, the back isn't to us, because I wanted us to see their face. I wanted you to see the fact that their eyes are closed in grief. I wanted you to get some humanity there and not just have the back of their hood or whatever. So this one has a face, this one doesn't really have a face. But they're both bowed. This one is kneeling, this one is standing, but you can see there the similarities. The difference being this one is holding on, literally holding on to the gravestone of her deceased. I can say it's her father because he's actually in the background, but it's obviously a family grave because there's more than one person in there, but she's literally holding on to the last thing that's connected to him there. What else have we got? I'll come back to the wider Waite in a minute. I'll just talk you through this because it's already 16 minutes in and I want you to just go through this. So the symbolism is, a lot of it's pretty straightforward. Things that you might not pick up are the dog. Now the dog is a loyal companion that she's not even aware of him. When you're in this grief state, everything just goes, you're completely turned inwards. She's a loving, caring person, but this grief has flawed her so much that she's not even taking notice of her beloved dog. The dog isn't doing what she's doing. She's looking down, she's looking inward, she's looking away, she's not connecting. The dog is looking to the future. He's looking out of the picture. And the dog shows us that she still has things to live for. She still has a companion that loves her. There is a future. The grass is green here. The flowers are the blessings that other people have brought to the grave. And when I was doing this, I didn't think that she'd brought all these flowers. I thought that there are other people bringing these flowers. She has other people in her life. She's lucky. She is blessed in that way. But she can't see it because she is lost in loss. The ivy, which is common in cemeteries, in graveyards, that is an evergreen. Obviously, it's entwining her. It's entwining right round her. It's showing that she is tied up in the actual environment. She's just almost become part of it. She's just there all the time. She's not really part of it, but the ivy's just joined to her. But it's also sort of reminding her that tendril is evergreen. It's reminding her of the eternal nature of existence. And it's green. It's bright green compared to the blackness, the melancholy blackness that she's in. If I can just do this and hopefully, does that make it focus? I'm not sure. Try and hold this a bit steady. We've got the crow again. The crow featured in the death card. I talked about the crow in my death video and how they are important to me as messengers between the worlds. You've got another grave statue monument in the background, which is a very serene figure. And you've got the bare trees, obviously symbolising the as in the death card, you had the midwinter, the bare trees. It's reflecting, they're all tied, everything is tied together in these cards, reflecting that barren time of year where everything seems to be lost and dead. But it isn't, because over here you have a yew tree, and yew trees are very commonly found in graveyards and cemeteries, and the yew tree obviously is evergreen and it has the red berries full of life. There are reminders all around her that life goes on and that life is beautiful and that it has blessings in it, but she's not ready to see them. And the most important thing of all is that this is one of the other cards, as in death, that has the death card that has a human spirit. Usually we have a non-human, an unseen being in every single card, but this one has a human spirit being. Now you can take him literally or symbolically, it's entirely up to you, but this is her father. He's literally waving, I'm still here, I still exist, I'm not, he's in ethereal kind of shades. He's not, he's not in the normal, I'm lost for words, sorry, he's not in the spectrum of oh, shut up, Poppy. You know what I mean. He's not in the same colours as she is. He's in this kind of ethereal shade, showing us that he's in a different reality. He's in another worldly reality. He's not in the same world, but he still exists, and he's waving and he's happy. But she can't see it. She's not ready to see it. Right, now just moving on to the rider Waite. Yeah, the bridge is important in this card, and I would have liked to have put it in here, but I couldn't. But let's just mention it anyway. It's build a bridge. I think this came from Biddy Tarot, which is a wonderful source. I think this comment came from that. Build a bridge and get over it, basically. The water is about going with the flow. If you don't go with the flow, then you're going to get stuck because you're trying to cling, as is she, to what's already gone. And no good is going to come about that. That is about suffering. When you're trying to cling to something that's gone, all you're going to do is cause yourself pain. You have to cross the bridge to the other side where there is something solid, the castle here, where there is anyway, so you can do that, or you can go with the flow. You can move on. Now there is always this thing about moving on, moving forward, but only when you're ready. It has to be something that you want to do, and I don't like that when somebody says that to me, especially when it's inappropriate. Grief is an incredible long process. It never goes away. It never goes away. It just gets less, and you learn how to live with it rather than to just give up and be stuck in it. That's the difference, and that's what she's doing here. It's about putting your head up, standing up, and as much as it hurts you, and it's always going to hurt you, and life is never going to be the same again, never, you can find something. You can find something over here. You can find something that will give you the impetus to start moving again. Even if it's incredibly slowly. Don't let anybody tell you that you should be over something. Everybody has their own time, and as I said, we never really get over it. We have to just adapt. This is not about blaming her or saying that she is, pathetic, or shunning her because she's finding this very difficult. This is her process. This is what she is going through. No, it is not healthy to be stuck here ad infinitum. No, it is certainly not a good thing to be stuck so deeply that you want to end up in the same place as this person here. But we can't hurry the process. There will be better days when we're ready. I think that's important. And I'm very aware that this video is going to cut off, and I have a lot to say still. I could have said so much. I don't think I'll do a part 2. Who knows? I don't think so. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that this is the Wild Spirit version of the Five of Cups. Self-explanatory. That will be revamped. I have a revamp that I have done over here. I really want to show it to you. I'm going to do a video about that very soon. I've just completed another revamp. What can I say about this card in conclusion? Trusted Tarot says that this card is a dark omen. Well, is it? I don't know. I'm going to have to be quiet now because I'm going to cut off. I'm just going to have to say lots of love. Is it a dark omen? I throw that to you. Loads of love to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. And I might do another part to this video. Please join me again soon. It's always a pleasure to share with you. Lots of love. Take care of yourselves and all other beings.